ready, cause it's about time for you to speak your mind. Girls Club. Girls Club. Super Secret Girls Club.
Hello.
What's up?
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. I can't believe it's Wednesday already.
None of us are wearing pink. No. Ketty is.
She's wearing,
I saved it.
which is
Anti-social. It's even bigger on the back.
I love that
Bye,
brand.
Spencer.
But yeah, no, welcome everyone.
Today we have a special girl guest.
Who's actually a girl this time.
It's always a special girl, Chris. Pat.
Sorry.
Now we have a special girl, Brie.
Yay!
It's a me.
Love it.
It's
It's a cheese.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Oh my god, I miss you guys so much.
I miss you too.
Literally, the only time we hang out now is we're at the studio.
It is. Like, we were at gym yesterday and Jordan was like, we need to get Brie back. I was like, I know. Like, I haven't seen her. Like, it's either gym. I was like, if I don't see you there, I don't see anybody anywhere.
But I love everyone's stories.
I love it. Yeah, it's hard. Like, it just feel like we know each other. We are friends, but at the same time, we don't see each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys know I love you guys so much.
Same.
I love friendships
Me
like that. And
too.
you're like, you're just walking past. I'm like, I love you. I'm giving you all my love. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
And it's like 2 weeks later. I'm like, what were you doing? You're like, so I cut my hair and we bought a house. And you're like, all right, cool.
I love
I feel
it.
like that's like nature of adult friendship now. You just kind of have to like schedule your
Yeah.
meetups. Like,
Yeah.
I no longer have to. I can no longer like walk outside and be like, "Hey, what's up? You want to go grab a beer?"
Oh, yeah. Let's spend 2 hours together. I'm like, nope. I have 5 minutes.
Literally,
Yes.
I asked 2 months in advance now.
Yeah.
Or a month in advance. I'm like, is
It's
this
so sad.
Wednesday?
It's so sad.
After your Pilates class at 6:15 and my class ends at 7, do you want to go get a drink at this bar?
Right there. Like, yes.
For exactly 20 minutes, because then I have to go do other things.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a pros and cons to adult life.
That's good.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Well, it's part of a topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
It is how to live a life without a timeline or outside of a timeline set by expectations, by society or culture or parents.
Family.
And all of that baggage. We will just unpack it all and,
fun times.
and be done with it. So, before we do that, I do have a question for you guys.
Question.
It's regarding New Year's resolution because it is February 1st.
I can't believe it's
I just want to check in and see how you would evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How successful were you last month, in following up on your resolution?
I was 100% successful because I had no resolution set up whatsoever. And it worked out.
Literally same.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I don't believe in them anymore, but I'll just set goals for myself. So I wanted to take a class at the gym every day for that month. No.
Damn.
That didn't work out.
That's a very
That's
high
unreasonable.
I
expectation.
did make it a week though.
Okay.
And so I was like, yes, but then I did it every other day. So initially what I really wanted
Still
is to
counts.
hit the gym.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
And so I did. So I'm very proud of that. But I can't do the New Year's resolution because I'm the type of person that puts a lot of pressure on myself. And so once I have the New Year's resolution, I can't just have the New Year's resolution. I have to
Fair
wake
enough.
up at 5:30 a.m. and then do all the things that billionaire like things they post on Instagram that I'm pretty sure is not accurate.
I'm pretty sure they don't do that themselves.
I don't believe. Yeah, I don't believe it. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like taking a seat back.
Yeah. I think regarding that, like, I guess my only goal was like to go gym twice a week. And I've been doing that. So, but I switched it from instead of Tuesday, Wednesday to Tuesday and Thursday because Jordan is killing me now with her weight. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursday. But I think that was the only goal I had. And it's been going fine. I like it. But
I'm sure to catch
it's
you with
good.
one of her classes.
Well,
Yeah. What about you?
I guess, I don't know. I'm like 6 out of 10, I guess.
Yeah?
I don't know. I was very strategic.
Yeah.
You know, during my Christmas break, I did like a whole like
A list?
not a
Board?
list. I did like a
Vision
mental
board?
map, like a vision
Ah.
board of like this is actually what I want to do in life.
Yeah.
Just not this month, but like in life. And then I was just like, okay, in January, I was just looking at it. I was like I'm gonna do this thing this month, and I kind of did some of the things that I said I would do, but I didn't do all of them.
Something's better than nothing.
But like some of the things that I didn't do are I actually have to do. Like some of them were like going through my like my finances for last year for taxes.
Oh,
and I was just like, I just want to get that out of the fucking way. I hate it. And I wanted to get it done this month, and I only did like 3 months.
Ketty.
Oh God.
Ketty,
I know, I
you
shouldn't
did
have.
3 months in January. That's amazing. I know people who are not going to touch taxes until literally April 20th.
Yeah,
Like,
that's very true.
Yeah,
I'm shocked that you're beating yourself up for getting ahead of taxes.
Well, but I like that's me every year. It's like April, and I'm like, fuck.
No, fair. Yeah, we can keep ourselves accountable. February, but by 15, I think we give ourselves time to like get taxes because I want to get those out of the way. But honestly, it's not gonna happen until March. But I want to get it out of the way.
I feel like I'm sitting with the two most responsible normies out of the whole group, and hearing this, I'm like, fuck, I need to get on my taxes. But truly, I feel that. But what I feel like also with this timeline, do you feel that we're going to talk about? Do you feel like it adds to the pressure that you put on yourself to like get everything together?
Well, I don't think that I put that on myself. IRS puts that on me.
Oh, yeah.
True.
You know, if
True.
IRS actually told me how much money I owe, then maybe we wouldn't have this problem here. But
It could all be like Germany if we really
here
wanted to.
we are. So
Here we are.
it's definitely part of the pressure and part of like the timeline and expectations. But it's not. We're gonna talk about like the both external and internal, but like, you know.
Yeah. So
It's different.
essentially like what timeline we put ourselves and what timeline society externally put on ourselves, and how do we deal with it, because the world has changed from what our parents were younger.
Even when
So
our
much.
parents
Severely changed.
And even with the changing world, it's shocking that sometimes your parents don't get that the world's changing. And so the
Yeah.
advice they give you is antiquated. And then you're like, well, then where can I get the answers? Thankfully, we have the internet. Thank goodness. Could you imagine trying to navigate the age that you are right now without the internet?
God,
I'd go
I
crazy.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if like it would be so different. Would it be better or worse? I don't know.
I feel like it might have been better just because then I'm not comparing myself unconsciously to all the internet.
The celebrating.
Yeah, so at the same time, it's like, this is my bubble. This is the bubble I'm sticking with. But now with the internet, your bubble is just a whole world.
But I also kind of love that because that means I don't have to call anyone for anything.
That's
if
true.
you really think about it.
Yeah, that's very true.
YouTube University, or I love TikTok now because I'll be learning so many different
So
recipes.
many.
And it's like super quick. I was growing garlic on TikTok. I'm like, you know what? I'm
So
so
much.
grateful for that.
That's true. There's pros and cons. Like, I've learned so much from TikTok for tips, and I was like, oh, I didn't know how to clean air fryer. This? Cool.
Yes!
Awesome.
God, the air fryer, man, is the most elite.
I love air fryer.
Elite of appliances.
It's great. It's great.
So before we get started with our topic, I do want to give a little shout outs here.
Yeah.
First, I do want to let you guys know, if you want to get to know us deeper as individuals, we are doing bi-weekly AMA sessions on Discord, which is always one of the normies, live for you guys for 1 full hour, and you can literally ask anything and just hang out. So definitely take advantage and do that.
Yep.
I think the next person
It's me
is
this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be called. So, like, you can actually ask me a question with voice over instead of, like, typing a question somebody asking. I mean, you can still do that, but
Yes.
you can talk to me.
And the next shout out I want to give is to the Art of Tea. You are probably going to hear about them somewhere in the middle of this as a plug, but I just
Yes.
wanted to highlight how much we enjoy this tea.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah, it's great. We do have in the description of the video, you will see that we have some discount codes if you guys want to get your own. We have like a sample here.
Yeah.
So we have like 4 different ones, which is also something you can order. I think I'm drinking the pumpkin pie.
I think mine is chocolate peppermint.
Yes, and I think
Can you
Brie
guess
will
what it
have
is?
The pumpkin pie chai.
Obviously,
I think.
Obviously. I love it. They do have a lot of different kind of tea. So we've been
Yes.
drinking it actually this whole winter because a lot of us are trying to switch from coffee to tea. So it's good to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, we kid ourselves. It's like, we can do this. And we're like, all right, but we can't. We will try. We're doing this.
And then you're also like, have you tasted coffee on a cold winter morning?
It's so good. Yeah, it goes back and forth. It's like, yes, I'm drinking tea. I mean, I grew up drinking tea as a kid. So it's like, okay, tea is still be there.
It's kind of funny because I drank so much tea since I was like 6.
Yeah.
And it was like Earl Grey breakfast tea, like hardcore caffeine since I was 6, and I had no idea.
No
it was
idea.
caffeinated.
That's hilarious.
And like my mom was just like, yeah, have some tea. Like, I'm like, what the fuck, mom?
Never fell asleep in class.
There you go. That would make sense why we were like jumping off the walls.
I was actually like, and I feel like I have like immunity to caffeine now.
Yeah, for drinking ever
Because,
since
Like,
you were young.
I actually need to have really strong coffee to feel any like. I've never felt like jitters from coffee ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I love that Morning Thunder, and I take
Morning
2 packets.
Thunder?
Yes, that Morning Thunder black tea. 2 of those, and I am off the wall.
Yeah. Oh my
And you're
god.
telling me you've never had the jitters?
I've never had the jitters.
Same. Never had the jitters. I think it's because like I've been drinking like Indian tea since I was born. Like literally, it's either milk
From your
or
mother's
like,
teeth.
from my mother's teeth. Literally, it was like a bottle of milk and a bottle of tea. It's like cool. And now like coffee doesn't even do anything.
We
but
are broken. We are broken.
No, you guys are hardened warriors. Huntresses
yeah,
of the caffeinated land. I didn't start really drinking coffee till I was 18. So.
Good.
But also, I remember going to college and there was this like 10-year-old little girl, and she's this tall in Starbucks in front of me. She gets a venti,
Oh my
whatever coffee,
God.
dumps cinnamon and sugar in it, whisks it, puts it on, goes out, huffs, lights a cigarette, and then goes to school. It was like a middle school around the corner. And I was like, whatever problems I have in life is nowhere near what this little woman is going through.
See, I could never do like venti coffee.
It was like filled to the brim.
That will like send me to the edge.
That's insane.
Just too much. But venti should not exist. That's a whole nother topic.
It's a bucket.
It's a bucket.
Just call it a bucket. Why you call it something fancy Italian?
Because
This is a
fancy.
problem.
Italian.
Because it sounds fancy.
Fancy.
I love
want
it.
the bucket-sized coffee, please.
Oh my god. Yeah, literally. I love when you go
Like
to Nick's.
same thing, large fry. Like I would like the inedible portion, please, because I want to eat it for the next 5 days.
Here's the thing. I will smash the whole thing. Don't you at me about some fries. I love
love fries.
I love a dipper. I love a dipping sauce.
Oh
yeah.
god. I love
know,
Chick-fil-A fries.
I was just going through my Instagram and like just scrolling all the way down to see like when I even started, you know, because I started Instagram when I moved here.
Yeah.
And like my 5th picture or something like so early on, like I'm just like in the pit, the Indy 500.
Oh,
And I'm
well,
just
God.
like, and I'm like holding giant like bucket of fries, and I wrote something snarky in like the description, and now I'm just like, I would eat the whole bucket now.
Oh, hi.
You know,
The whole thing.
Don't get me like,
things change.
Yeah.
I've changed.
fries just hit you differently. Sometimes you
feel
just
like
want fries.
It's like ages like fine wine, and I feel that America gets you because my stomach grows so big while I'm here because the portions are huge.
Right.
And then I go back to Europe and I am starving. I am mean, at least for the first 3
so
weeks.
you
I'm like,
you guys are
don't-
not feeding me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
How do you survive off of
seriously.
this?
I feel like your stomach like you
It does.
don't need this much food as you get in America.
But you want it.
But like once you
want it.
start like
Eating it
when
that
I
way.
first moved to the United States, I lived in Texas, and I literally would go to this one Chinese place, get like a portion of like fried noodles,
Oh my god.
and I would eat it for 5 fucking days.
It's called economics.
I love it.
But now
like
I
one
can
day.
eat it all in one sitting. I'm like, what happened to me? Who am I?
Doesn't matter. Don't when you eating fries or fried noodles. Don't no judgment. I will eat them all. Like it just. I
We've
love
both
it.
also been working out. We're athletes now. We need
this fried Noodles.
I need the carbo load, so don't
I love
you,
it.
like,
I love it all. I have no shame.
Yeah.
No shame. Like some days I just crave fries.
Oh, my thing right now, I've been making some fire chicken tikka masala.
Dude,
And
those Instagram stories that you have look amazing. I can't even cook like that.
I appreciate you guys. I
Like, love it.
But I'm really happy I cook, and I'm gonna make some naan bread from scratch tonight,
Oh,
and I just want to dip it in, and I know it's so many calories, and there's
It
so
doesn't
much
matter.
dairy, and I
Ugh.
feel like it doesn't count. It doesn't count if it's chicken tikka masala. If
It
it's
just has to be.
vindaloo, like the calories don't exist.
Yeah.
the calories don't.
it just
exist.
has to. It's just that. All right, we have gone a bunch of off tangents. So, what is the topic of our podcast today?
Let's
host?
stick to the timeline of this podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, I see
let's
what
talk
you
about what we
did
need to talk about.
All right.
Horrible, you guys.
I love this. I'm having so much fun.
Before we get into like the our timelines,
Yeah.
as set by different factors, I do
Yeah.
want to acknowledge those factors. So I would like all of us to state our sex, age, racial or ethnic background for those who aren't watching, education, occupation, relationship status. How far are you from retirement?
Oh my god, that's a lot of questions.
So like anything that you can associate with there's a timeline that I'm not really following up on, and what is
I love me some Nico. Hey, if you
Sorry,
ever
that was
need
too
someone to
cute.
babysit your dog.
Oh, welcome to. So you essentially just want to talk about like who we are and where we are and expectation from the society timeline.
Yes. So yeah, and we will talk about like cultural expectations first, but before, let's just kind of state.
Yeah. So just staging who I am. I'm Navi. I'm brown. I'm Indian. More specifically, I'm 32 years old. Female, if you can hear me from my voice. Sometimes people have told me they can't. Yeah, I'm a financial business officer for the Normies. Also like on-screen personality, depending on who needs me where. What are the other questions?
Do you have any side hustles?
Oh, way too many. So beside the Normies, which is a full-time job, I also have with Marketa and Chris, we run a sauna business, which is in a bus. Along with that, I also help manage my parents, couple of their projects. So I have master in business. So business is, I guess, not in my blood, but in my sweat.
And it's yours.
It's in your
It's
in your
my
cup of coffee.
It's in my cup of coffee and everything. I always like to take like an idea and see what I can do with it. Hustling is something that, not saying everybody should do it. It works for me. I like it.
What's your zodiac sign?
Scorpio. I'm the Scorpio and I stand by it. I don't read horoscope, but when I do, I think it's totally me. I will go with it.
You and Sydney. That makes
I love
so
it.
much sense.
I love it. But yeah.
Do you feel like this description that you just did, like kind of like culturally for you being Indian, do you feel like you are like fitting the box?
Oh God, no.
The check boxes.
Oh, but no.
Because from what you said, you sound like a pretty successful and accomplished woman.
In America, for sure. Like back at home, not so much. I'm single still at 32, so I don't think in India they do this, but I know in Arab countries they do, like after a certain age you essentially expired. So like in India at this point, I don't think they will see me as in like, oh, somebody who has 2 degrees, who has successfully built their own business and going on it. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of young generation in India now who is being independent to that level, but you have to be in a city for it. I guess it will just really depend on who I'm talking to. My parents have kind of given up on me getting married, which I'm super happy about.
Just save the money for later.
Just
You never know.
yeah.
Gave up.
Yeah, they just gave up, which I'm like, it's fine. Like they stopped asking questions. I was like, it's
Do
fine.
they treat because you have a younger brother?
Yeah.
Do they treat him differently in terms of like relationship
Always.
expectations?
I mean, always, right? Like he's also not only like youngest, he's also the boy. So obviously, in India, like having a boy son, it's a bigger deal, and that was what they were achieving for, and he was the third one that was born. So they're
shouldn't
like,
the
he's love it.
expectations be greater on him?
And I mean, expectations, I guess it would have been if he was the oldest. So things change. When you're youngest, you kind of get away with everything. Regardless who the youngest is. And him being youngest and him being the son, so he get away with a lot of things. Not like saying that he's spoiled. Like, I think he's the most mature from all of us. And he's trying to like sit down with my parents and try to explain to them. Like, he's trying to like have them open-minded. I think my parents have changed so much probably because of him. They have helped him. Like, he's essentially been like, I'm gonna continue doing this. Either you're on a board like with it or not. And he's just been like, I have my own job. Like, I had living on my own. So you kind of just either trust me or you don't. And I kind of just been like that. But no, I remember like one time I had a white boyfriend. My parents didn't know, but they kind of found out. Like, I got so much grief about it. But then my brother had a white boyfriend, and my mom was like super happy. Like, it was like, oh yeah, she's so sweet. Like, buying like gifts for her, and I was like, he's younger than me. Like, what is happening? I loved her. Like, I loved her. Like, I loved his girlfriend. Like,
I was about to say, wait, your parents are okay with him having a white boyfriend?
No, white girlfriend.
You
sorry.
Can have a white boyfriend.
I know.
Like, that is some leaps and bounds from the conversation.
I know.
Your brother has been having with him.
Yeah, I know. And I misspoke. Like, he had a white girlfriend, but like, but yeah, no, they were essentially like mom was super okay with it, and I was like so baffled by that. It's like, wait, what? Like, not get too wrong. Like, I'm happy for him. Like, I love the girl. We're still friends. Like, she's gorgeous and like she's doing so much for herself. But it was like, if this doesn't tell you it's a double standard, I don't know what tells you.
I think this is a good thesis for the podcast, which is timeline is bullshit.
Timelines are bullshit.
Expectations are bullshit.
They are. But yeah, I mean, we can get more into it. Like, culturally, I think everybody internet can say, like, culturally, I should have been married right now with a bunch of kids. That hasn't happened, and I'm not having kids. So that's always...
You have a kid.
I have a kid. And I think that's the funniest thing when I go home and mom's always like, you know, I always give her grief when she's like giving me advice all the time. It's like, stop it, mom. She was like, but you know, you will know when you have kids. Like, I won't. And I'm telling you right now, if I don't know at this age that I won't, like, having a kid won't help me. Like, like, it's the same thing.
Now go babysit your granddaughter.
Yeah. Leave me alone. Exactly. It's like, go take care of Nico. It's like, this is the only grandchild we'll get. Be happy about it.
I told my mom, like, if you guys could pick out which cat you want, I'll take care of it. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, this can be yours. Whee!
Yeah. Like, yeah. Timeline's bullshit. I mean, we can get more into it. Like, it's been an interesting journey to accept the timeline that I wanted to make my own. Yeah.
What about, is this the last thing for you?
Good.
Can we move to Brie? What about your job? Like, is that something that your parents are disappointed with or have been before because it's not, you're not a doctor or, you know, the typical perfect profession? Not
a brown professional. Honestly, it was an interesting journey because I went to college for criminal justice. That's something that parents don't hear about, like brown parents don't hear about, because I think that was me. As a kid, I wanted to do everything opposite of what society wanted from a female. Like, opposite. And I'm not saying that I'm not smart now. Like, I was very smart. If I wanted to go to doctor, I could have been. But if my parents didn't push for it, I probably would have been a doctor. But because my parents expected it, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do everything opposite of what you're asking me. So I went to college for criminal justice and psychology.
I wish I knew you as an angsty teenager.
Oh my God. I wasn't angsty. In my head, I was angsty.
Probably shows on your face. You just
I was trying to be I know. I was like a good daughter,
that is the
right?
most teenage thing you ever said.
I know. I was a good daughter through and through. Like, but same time not.
The gif of the guy who's just staring off at the soccer game, like, it's probably me.
It's probably me. Like, seeing my siblings also like having it easy going sometimes, I'm like, that was me standing on top of the stairs. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
That meme is me 24/7.
Literally, don't get me started on sibling benefit.
Yes, I was gonna move to that because I know you have some things to say.
It's a whole thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Priti, my sister, went through hell. Like, she went through hell. Like, I kudos for her to be where she is right now. She's happy, she's married, like, makes my heart grow. But when I see KB go through some shit, it was like, I love you, KB, but I hate you at the same time. Like, at the same time, because I struggle so much when it comes easy to you. Like
I went to war for you.
I went to war for you.
I went to war for
And
you.
like that was my Vietnam, and you were just going too easy.
Girl, don't flashbacks.
This is the cross that both of you guys bear.
Yes.
Girl.
Yeah, let's talk
I
about
don't want
Brie
it.
and your
Cosmic territory.
your sister, I think, has enjoyed some benefits of hard labor.
Of your hard labor.
Yes. No, for me, my name is Brie. I'm 26 years old. I'm Jamaican American, first gen.
I had no idea you were Jamaican American.
Yeah, so my mom came over when she was younger. If you talk to my grandma, whenever she would call the places we were at, they would just say, "There's a woman with a thick accent on the phone," and like it's my grandma. Hi, Grandma Marcia. If you're seeing this, hi, Grandma. Yes. What were the other questions?
Okay.
I'm a cisgendered woman.
Okay.
That's with the LGBTQ, so I'm a queer cisgendered woman.
Yeah.
What else?
Beautiful. Your race or ethnicity, you already mentioned you're Jamaican.
Sex, no complaints. Sorry, Grandma.
What is your education and occupation?
Oh, yes. So I graduated from the American University of Paris with a bachelor's in marketing.
Nice.
Right now I'm working as a freelance marketer.
Love it.
And that's being, I bet you want to talk about taxes. You want to talk about taxes. So it's been a very growing period for me. That's the main one. I feel like I don't find myself in side hustles. I feel like I find myself in sitcom episodes with my friends sometimes. And they're like, there's this big project that needs to get done. And I'm like, woo! Like I always end up in something like that. Or with mine, and I have shenanigans that my friends fill out. So I'm not sure about side hustles yet.
Yeah.
I need to find a name for it. I'm a event coordinator now, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Vet coordinator.
Event.
Oh, event. I thought I said vet. It's like, what? Were you working with vets?
I'm possibly. I'm an event coordinator now,
Nice.
so my timeline's been very varied. But also, I feel like my parents had a very varied timeline as well. I'm a very young family, so typically, like people have kids like in their 20s or early 20s.
Yeah.
And I already told my parents I'm not about that life. But also when my mom took me to college, she was like, "You're getting birth control." She's like, "You don't need a kid in college."
I like it.
Nice.
Immediately, no.
Good.
And I was like, yes, I appreciate that. But also I am the eldest of two of my sister and my brother.
Yeah.
And it's very true about how easy, and also there are variations of Vietnam that they have. And what I appreciate now,
Different. Yeah.
yes, is sharing notes with them as they get older, and the tolerance they have for my parents, I love.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have that tolerance anymore. So it's funny, like seeing with every age, I'm like, guys, did you guys know your brain still grows and you actually feel it? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, your knees will start to hurt at 23. It's a lie when they say 25. 23. And so did the 2-day hangover start. And I just love being like, I'm just informing them all the time. I'm like, this is what actually happened. And they're like, what, are you serious? I'm like, the world is crazy. And so I hope they enjoy it. But also coming with the territory, I feel like I got to cut my teeth a bit, and I already knew when I was younger, I already knew I wanted to be a businesswoman. So for me, I feel behind in my timeline in that aspect.
Gotcha.
But I also I feel like I always knew I'd have my own. Like I did not care what society was saying. For a minute, I felt pressured. Like my parents, when I graduated college, they started asking about children.
Yeah.
But I decided to nip that button in the butt immediately. I said, either you're going to give me $250,000 to raise this child, or we're not going to talk about it. And if you keep asking me, I will get a hysterectomy.
Love it.
Because my mom just had one, and I'm like, I will do it. I will do it.
Yeah.
And so with that, I feel more so on my own personal timeline, I'm a bit more behind, but I'm also okay with that because I feel like I had to have a few lost years, as people say. Yeah. And I feel like people don't account for that because they don't realize, like, after childhood, when you actually are an adult, I feel like you have a few lost years when you actually realize, no, I'm an adult and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. And it's not just whatever I want. I have to start doing things that are good for me, not just what feels good. Yeah. And that allows for a few lost years of, like, what do I actually want to do?
No, fair enough.
And since I didn't account for that, and I'm thinking I should be, like, a multimillionaire mogul by 30, I'm like,
as everyone is.
Everyone, yeah,
obviously. now I'm just more of just giving myself more grace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
That's how
kind
I'm
of
looking
like
at timeline.
agree with what you
Nice.
said. It's like from beginning you just knew you were gonna do things differently. So you kind of yeah, I think that's part of me. Like even though I knew what in India like society wanted, I knew I was not gonna do that. So I was gonna do the opposite. It was just a matter of like you either on board with it or you're not. And
I
yeah.
don't care. Like I feel
Yeah,
like that's the
exactly. I
oldest-
was like, that's fine. What are you gonna do? I don't live under your roof.
Oh my goodness, the moving out, the
Was the
moving out conversation.
best.
Gosh, ooh, if I could bottle up
It's
that
a rite
feeling.
of passage.
It's
Yes,
yeah.
and the eldest sibling like armor, which I'm sure that because you had to go to bat alone, I believe, right? Or do you have?
I
siblings?
actually have an older brother, but I don't
That's
think it
essentially
counts.
Yeah,
No.
no.
Yeah, this is definitely.
The pressure. We'll talk about me in a second.
Yes, I'd love to hear that about you, but I feel like you also have that eldest like at least
Mentality, yeah.
female sibling of being like no, like literally whatever you can say is not worse than my mind, and I really don't care, so I'm just gonna burn this bridge and do what I want to do.
Yeah. After a while, I was like, you just you're not gonna hate me.
But also, it's gonna be fine. It
gonna
always
be
works
fine.
out. Like, by the time they're 40, everyone relaxes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we're okay. We're very young.
Yeah.
So how has like your parents, like the Jamaican part of your family, you know, has that been kind of like pressuring you into in a certain direction as well?
Honestly, thankfully, no, because none of them have been with the norm. I know, I think about it.
Right.
I think my
Okay.
grandma did live that life of being the norm. Like, she grew up in Jamaica where, like, the queen would still visit type. Like, she went to this private school. She was the head girl, and she loves to tell you about her being the head girl.
I love it.
And like had the whole picket fence, servants and all that. And then she divorced her then husband and came to the US. And because of that, I feel like she's been very keen on being like, no, I like do what you want and do what makes you happy.
I like it.
And so I'm thankful for that. My American side though, they're very keen on wanting me to follow their footsteps in a minute. Like my grandparents will like try to drop hints of like it's weird. But they'll try to pressure me more than my parents will about kids.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And that makes me laugh a little bit. But I also feel like because of how different the generations are, I feel like a lot of our older family members are envious that we get to just be us.
I guess
Just
that's
be.
true too.
And I feel like that's where the pressure of the timeline is, because it's more of them pushing on, well, I did this. And then I was pressured by dead people's opinions. So you should be pressured by my opinions that I'm alive and these dead people's opinions to live your life this way because you're happy and I'm not.
Yeah. That's a very interesting point. I think, yeah, like at a certain point it is like, that's how I did it. What's wrong with that? It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but that worked for you.
And it forces them to think, because they're like, why would you do anything else? And you're like, well, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, like there is an option. And I think the idea is like, because they didn't have the option, better or worse, like it's just like accepted because they're options now. Like it's just and I think that's the one thing like I would fight with my parents sometimes. Like I haven't argued with them for a while, but they brought us here to give us options. So when it's like, isn't that why you brought us here? You should have just left me back home.
Right? Oh, wait,
I would have been married by now and like with 3 kids. Like
you can't call me stupid and you sent me to college. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean?
Oh my
Let's get to
god!
Ketty, because I know Ketty
I'm dying.
is my warrior woman.
This thing that you just said about college just speaks so much to me, because
Yeah.
I was like the first person in the family who actually got like a degree.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Who- And
Kudos.
honestly, I mean, I don't think you need to clap for that. I think I was just lucky to be born when I was born,
Yeah.
because my parents were born into an era of communism, and you know, it was just kind of the expectation back then was for everybody to just be in labor, and labor was the number one value over like, you know, individuality or like freedom or choices. Like it was labor first.
Yeah.
And so like my parents haven't really had the options in life that I've had. And so they actually like were, you know, like you are the smart one. You need to like go. You need to go to college. You need to. And I actually didn't really want to go to college at first when I was like
Really?
well, because I kind of sucked at math.
So that's
like,
why
I don't know if I keep going through this. But then I realized that it was actually the teacher that I had that sucked, and it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Because one of like, and this person literally changed my life. My math teacher, she like stayed with me after school.
Yeah.
Just with me.
Yeah.
And she like explained something to me in a way that I never heard it explained. And I feel like I literally understood math from then on.
Wow. Okay.
And I like passed all my tests, and I got accepted to like one of the best high schools because of her.
Okay, nice.
Even though all the other teachers, including like all the like the counselors in school, like just rejected me flat on because my brother's grades were just abysmal, and so they just thought that we were a stupid family.
Oh, I hate when they do that. It's like, come on, not everybody's the same.
Yeah. But like literally that teacher changed my entire life, and I will never be like, thankful enough for that. But I got to go to high school, and in that high school I kind of like, just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go to college, because it was like not a high school that prepared me for anything.
Gotcha.
It was just a very general, like, this is preparatory high school for your college career.
Fair enough.
It's like, you can't do shit if you have a degree from this high school.
Yeah,
like,
but it's just preparing you for the
yeah.
next step, essentially.
I was like, well, I don't even have a choice. So I went to college, and then I even pursued my master's, and I got my master's.
Has 2 degrees, says not to clap.
Yeah.
But I feel like I did that. It ended up being my choice, and I'm thankful for it, but I also feel like I was fulfilling my parents'
Dreams.
dreams.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'm not mad about it because it ended up being good for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely rebelled when I was in college because I did not follow the timeline. Like, I was a year behind.
Yeah.
I took a gap year right out of high school.
I wish I did that, honestly.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got into college, year 2, I went for like a cultural exchange program.
Yeah.
Which didn't take any years away because I was able to transfer my like academic credits.
Yeah.
But my parents were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Where the fuck are you going?
Just go through college and be done with it."
Yeah.
Because the turkey years, I would love to hear more about your turkey years.
I love the turkey years. But I did, so during my bachelor's, I went to Turkey, out of all places, for a year. And my parents were not okay with it. If I say they were not okay with it,
They were not okay
we
with it.
fought.
Oh, wow.
When I left, I felt terrible because I didn't leave on good terms, and I just and I was gone for a year, and I felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
Because the calls were awkward, you know what I mean?
And you kind of have to call, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll just lose touch.
Yeah, and I was like, I just want to talk about are you guys still mad at me? They were like, well, you could have went to France or Germany and you could come to visit Marfa. And I was like, I didn't want to though. I wanted to come here.
Yeah.
And I had my reasons, and they were just not respectful of that. So that was my first failure in the eyes of my parents. And they're just choosing this nonsensical option out of all of my options that I had.
Do you feel? I feel like that lesson of realizing you don't need your parents' approval is so pivotal. Do you feel like when you realized you didn't need your parents' approval anymore, that also coincided when you realized I don't need to follow anybody's rules on how to live your life. I can just live mine. I don't care if you think I need to be it this way once I'm hit these random milestones no one talks about.
And I also think that nobody else was putting any expectations on me but my parents. And I think that one thing that was very hurtful for me growing up was the incongruencies between their expectations.
Yeah.
Their expectations they had for me were not congruent with each other, because they wanted me to live the life that they lived with their timelines. By now I should have 2 children probably, I guess, and have a house or have this and that, and go to this job that's good, and and work hard, and and just and be there for them now. I mean, I feel bad about that, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would have probably lived that life if they didn't send me to college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you sent me to college. You're opening all these doors for me, and you want me to keep them closed?
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
were mad at me because I opened the wrong door for them. You know what I mean?
Fair.
So
Yeah.
I feel like that's a way of putting it, opening the wrong door for them. And I feel like a lot of people, when they have these expectations of lives, I feel like also with a lot of parents, when they have a kid that's of age to have kids, they want to become grandparents more than they actually were thinking, like, does my kid want kids? And even with that, I feel like when they push these random timelines onto you, they have an expectation of they see their child as an extension of themselves and not realizing they're independent.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so cathartic. Well, for me, it was very cathartic of realizing that life was like in my hands. But it's also, in the age of social media, it's very disruptive because I feel like we're inundated of like rage posts. So it's annoying when I hear some whom I find uneducated or unempathetic people spewing the same things that the parents would say and realizing, oh my goodness, this is what my parents think, like, and there's a bunch of people who think so am I doing the right thing? And having to reassure yourself again that no, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been one of those things, like, even though, like, I wanted to do whatever I wanted to, but unconsciously I still wanted approval of my parents, because, like, you continue seeing the people who were, like, there was so many people in my community, like, getting married, like, every day, like, will graduate from high school or from college and they will immediately get married, and I'm nowhere close, so they will obviously, like, there'll be aunties and stuff, like, looking at me and be like, well, you have another daughter, think about them for marriage, like, like, I'm not inviting you, so you don't have to, like, come to my wedding. But it just always, you have to be like, tell myself, like, no, it's fine, because the path I have chosen is different. Like, what I want to do is completely different from what they want to do. Like, they want to have a family, which is good for them. Do what you want to do. Like, but I don't want to have a family, and I just have to be like, that's okay. Like, because end of the day, the one thing I realized, like, a lot of times I would go to wedding, like, a lot of aunties and uncles was like, oh, when are you getting married? It's like, because all they wanted was another celebration. They want another party to go to. It was like,
Yes, or another show, look how well I am because we're the report card.
Exactly. Oh, there. And it was like, and you're gonna come there and you're gonna complain about it, and like, you can spend your own money. Like, I'm not inviting you.
That is, I feel like
hate
it
that.
says so much about people if they are like invited to an event and then like judge the event.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like,
you can leave.
exactly.
Go.
Also, if it's your friend, like, I don't I'd like a sprinkle, because like every event has to have a sprinkle. That's why I need you, your role in this event. I have this bitchy auntie.
Yeah.
Who's never happy. And then this one uncle that I'm gonna keep an eye. Well, I don't want the uncle to keep an eye on, but that one uncle who gets a little too drunk, and you're just like, all
There's
right.
always one of those.
And
Like-
or if you think you weed them out, new ones pop up because they like mutate and they're like, I got to fill in this role. And you're like, you were fine last year, Uncle Craig.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, do you feel, as women, I feel like society is so obsessed of having us be mothers. It's like, why is that the only thing? Like, oh, have kids, and that's the timeline we're put on. But I'm like, well, men can go and grow themselves or have these gap years, or you'll be like, oh, they don't get it together until they're 30. But women, we're supposed to have it done, gotten together, have a house, have a kid. I mean, at 26, my parents had me, and I was 5 years old. I could not imagine. Cuvier's already enough for me.
Oh,
of a
dude,
cat.
yeah.
She's way too much. She's over here talking back, running things, ripping up my carpet, and I love her. But I'm like, that is just how I have to deal with. But you're telling me you want me to deal with a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
And I'm still a kid?
Like, still figuring it out. Yeah. And the other things, like, every time when I called mom and she would like give me all this advice and stuff, I was like, Mom, listen, at my age, you had like kids. Obviously, nobody was giving you advice. Like, you were doing it on your own. I think you should also figure it out. Like, just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I don't have life experience. Like, I have different life experience, and like, I still know what I'm doing. Just like, I'm not a kid. Like, I still feel like a kid, but like, I'm not from society, like I'm not a kid just because I don't have kids of my own.
Yeah.
Yes. Or even like I don't have a kid, but also I don't have I don't want to say entrapments, but that's how I feel about it. That you had to do to stay in these options and not be able to explore your other options.
Yeah.
I do have. I actually do want kids.
Yeah.
I do good. Like when
Yeah.
I'm 35. Like I feel like that's when I'm gonna start.
And I also didn't mention I'm 33. Am I 33?
Oh my god.
Are you? I think you're.
I think
a
so.
few months older than me.
Yeah.
That's good babysat.
And so I'm turning 34 this year actually. In a few months.
Am I 33?
I
No,
think-
no, I'm turning 33 this year.
You're
You turning 33.
I'm turning 34.
34?
I feel like you're only a few months older than me. Or maybe Rana is a few months older than me.
I am 89, so I'm turning 34.
Okay.
This
So Rana is turning 33
You can run for president.
and then I'm turning 30. Okay,
no,
yeah.
not
yeah.
yet.
I cannot.
No, you cannot. You
I
can be
cannot
senator.
run for president unless you guys want to falsify my papers.
We'll
then
do it.
We can talk about that.
Thank
More
you,
than 10
Spidey.
years.
Spidey, like, you're turning 33. Like, thank you for counting. Like,
Yeah.
you stop counting after you're 30. It's like,
But yeah, I do want kids. But I'm also constantly on the fence about it because, you know, and still like at my age, I feel like I shouldn't be
yeah.
having this much doubt. But I think that this goes in line with the last kind of like level of expectations that we didn't touch on yet, which is kind of like the expectations of like your generation and like the responsibilities of the world that you feel like you're inheriting.
Yeah.
And this one actually probably affects me the most, more so than my parents' expectations, because my parents are very traditional, but at the same time, I kind of fought that earlier on. Now they're kind of just let me be.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of like
Fair,
more
same.
mutual, there's a little bit more mutual respect
Yeah.
between us. They still consider me just like as their child, you know what I mean? I will never be an adult in
Yeah.
their eyes.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna
But
bark back
that's
a little
just that's the nature of our relationship. But
Yeah.
I don't feel as much pressure at this age from my parents as I feel from like just the state of the world.
Yeah.
And like with having like bringing children into this world,
Yeah.
it's terrifying for me because like I don't even know if we are going to like enjoy something like retirement
Yeah.
or fresh water when we're 60. You know, like I have an actual like existential dread in the back of my mind all
Yeah.
the time. And it's really hard to live with that. And so I guess I did want to open up a discussion about, you know, what are our expectations as, you know, we are at the age where we can like actually make changes and influence decisions on like world stage. But sometimes it also feels like we can't really because we're not in that much of a power position. So how do you guys feel about those expectations?
It's interesting because like I think I do agree with you where, as I mentioned earlier, like my parents have kind of given up, so they've stopped asking or having that pressure. But from society, I think it is true that as a female, society just thinks at a certain point your next milestone is gonna have you having a kid.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, it worked for everybody. Like, I'm not against having a kid. Like, if I'm with somebody who wants to have a kid, that's fine. But I'm not the one, like, I need to have a kid, need to have this.
Be fulfilled.
To be fulfilled. Like, I don't need to have a kid to fulfill. I feel like having a kid is just gonna, I don't know where I have time to have a kid in my plate. So I'll have to drop a lot of things. But I think, agree with one of the reasons I don't want to have a kid is where as a world we are going. And I do see the point where like the birth rate is going down. I think we do need to have more kids in the world. And I think that's also at a certain point, conspiracy, it's because of we don't have enough. Like there's not a kids enough to fill that.
need to stop being racist and accept immigrants.
I know, we just like accept like there's a lot of issues going on there, like, and also like I understand us like not building a generation to be a labor, but at the same time we are building automation. So I don't know if you're gonna be needing that labor world anymore, as in like the robots and Optimus Bot, like all of these. We are creating a self-driving trucks eventually. So like where is this labor force gonna go? So you're just looking like I really think like robots are gonna take over, so we don't really need that labor force anymore. But at the same time, it's like I see the show like expands. I see like we all see so many shows and we see what's happening around us. Like literally the climate change is happening everywhere. So just seeing that and like I don't know how I can bring a child to this world and then knowing that they might not have fresh food. They might have to live in Mad Max world. Like they may have to like live all that like where I wouldn't want to live myself. Like I was watching Last of Us. I started Last of Us last night.
Oh my god.
Dude, I haven't finished it. I mean, I've seen like I've played the game, right? Like I've seen the show and I just watched the episode, like half of it, and it was just one of those things. Like I was sitting and watching. It's like I don't know if I would continue living in the world like that. Like I don't know. I was listening to this girl. It's like if the zombie apocalypse happened, I understand like you have to continue living the community to repopulate. Fuck that. Like I don't care about this world anymore if the zombies are taking over. Clearly nature's telling us fuck off.
I'm so happy you said that because last night, I'm with Josh at the last of the streams.
Yeah.
And they're all about like, oh, but they're gonna like have quiz and clapping cheeks. I'm like, we literally cannot have sex during the zombie apocalypse. And I feel like
I've been running around pregnant.
And I was
clickers.
I was realizing a lot of the opinions for women, we have a lot more layers to think about. And I was telling Spidey, and I was like, you don't realize that having sex in the zombie apocalypse could mean I'm pregnant and out of commission for 9 months.
And then you might die in the childbirth.
Or there might be a complication and I might bleed out. We don't have any medicine. We don't have all of that. So it was funny. I was like looking at the chat and realizing, I'm like, you guys don't have to think about this.
Yeah.
You're just thinking about getting your wet. And I'm like, I'm like, there's so many more levels that I feel like us as women have to think of. We always think of them. We all should think of, but
you don't think about it because you don't have to.
Or they're not educated evenly. And I don't get that. Because I'm like, it should be a human thing. Like, no, we both got to work together because we are the reproductive system.
Yeah.
Like, let's get that going. And so, like the zombie apocalypse are coming around. I totally feel that. Because I'm like, well, I'm celibate. I don't know about y'all, but like it's been 20 years since the zombie apocalypse and they got no condoms. Girl, guess what? None of it.
Like
no wax.
Imagine
no wax.
You get pregnant and then you giving a childbirth and the female dies. Like, A, she could have protected herself. She could have like been a gatherer, like a hunter-gatherer, and you lost that person and now you have to take care of this kid who might start crying any minute when there's like clickers around.
Yes.
It's like, what? Like, why would I want to?
Have you guys seen The Quiet Place?
Yeah, okay,
No,
or it have to be Emily Blunt and you over here yelling for no motherfucking reason. No motherfucking reason. And I have to give birth and then shoot. I mean, there's so many levels to this.
So it's just one of those things, like, because the way the world is going, or it could be, it doesn't motivate me enough to be like, I want to have a kid. So like, if I end up having a kid, sure, that's fine. But like, the world is not giving me any optimism. Like, I love our world. I want to continue protecting it. At the same time, like me and Pat get into this fight all the time because like Pat, sometimes he won't recycle. He's like, the world's are fucked. It's like, then you are not allowed to have kids.
No.
You can't tell me.
Give me your balls.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't tell me. So I always be like, so you don't want to have kids? He was like, why would I? I was like, well, you're not giving them a good world. Like, you don't, like, you already think the world is dying and you want to have kids.
And that I feel like also a lot of, I feel, I don't want to sound judgmental when I say this.
I'm a judgmental bitch, dude.
I do feel that a lot of people who don't acknowledge that this is a reality, that global warming is a thing that exists, and that we are partially responsible for it, or at least for its acceleration, those people have kids all the fucking time.
All the time.
And they have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they are instilling those values onto them.
Yeah.
Partially, this is why I feel the responsibility to have kids. Because I feel like
To have some smart ones.
somebody like me
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
can like raise like future like leaders or like change, like someone who will like actually make the change. And that's a very naive. My kids might be psychopaths. Who knows?
Yeah, I got a 50-50 split.
Who knows?
Like, but I fully agree with that. But I've also always thought, if you want to really talk about it, and Josh and I talk about this all the time, I'm like, I'm getting a compound. Like, I want to have kids, and I've always thought they're probably 35. But if the world's going, then I was talking to Josh. I'm like, well, we're buying a water filtration plant. Like, we're gonna have to buy some land.
You have to teach your kids at home.
Yes.
Because you don't know what the history books are teaching anymore.
Montessori, but I also thought, I'm like, we're probably, if the zombie apocalypse comes in, then I'm getting a compound with my friends, and guess what? We're raising our kids. Like, that has to be, but make it fun. And then, like, but having the thought of, like, okay, if I'm gonna have kids in this climate, I'm like, well, then we're gonna have to figure out how to survive just in case. Teach them that. Like, have you guys watched the 3rd episode of Last of Us?
No,
yet?
I did. Only first episode.
So 3rd episode, very touching. I feel like that's gonna be me. Okay, I feel like I'm not sure which one I'm gonna be, but I might be friendly, I might not be.
Yeah.
But he essentially had everything prepared prior to the zombie apocalypse. I'm like, I think that's probably gonna be me.
Pepper.
Yeah.
And be like, so then it's a safe way for me to have kids and then not feel bad about it. But only if I have these in place. But if I don't, then I don't want kids.
But you mentioning the commune actually led me to another. I've been reading this book about like
commune?
the unfinished. It was something about unfinished sexual revolution. And it was actually really eye-opening about marriage.
Yeah.
And I never thought about marriage this way, but it is one of the expectations that is like built within our legal system.
Yes.
It's encouraged legally that we make these unions for multiple different benefits that to me are just human rights and everybody should access them. But it's just so ingrained in our culture, any culture basically, that marriage is the golden standard for just existing in general. If you're a single person in America and you don't have like a full-time job, there is no fucking way you have even health insurance. Yeah. Which is just like mind-boggling to me.
Unless you have, I have a friend who's thankfully his parents are very well off, and he said without insurance, they pay $500 a month for him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
To cover his health insurance.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And so I did hear about there's like some like activists and lawyers who are trying to like change it or fight this battle in a legal way. And what they do for like, you know, if there's like I don't want to call it a commune, but let's say, you know, people literally can't afford rent in New York City. So like you have like group of friends, like 4 or 5 friends living in an area. If like one of them has children like that, and like, you know, it's
they'll just
kind of like they're all, it's like everybody's child.
Yeah.
And like this lawyer is literally turning like that union into like an LLC. Yeah. So they can have insurance under the LLC.
Oh my God,
smart.
that's crazy.
So that she's giving them that option while she's like fighting for, you know, marriage not being the golden standard.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it. Yeah. I never thought about it that way. I mean, I'm glad I'm married. I love my husband, and
hey, Chris,
I'm happy where I am. But I find it so unfair that that expectation exists, and that we don't even like think. Or I want to speak for myself. I never thought about it. Yeah, you know,
there's a lot of things like in college I took this class. It was around marriage and family, like, and a lot of it's because of legality. Like you get tax breaks if you're married, like compared to a single person, you have to pay so much taxes. And I think that's why a lot of LGBTQ community fight to get a marriage right, because like if you've been a partner with somebody for years, if they die, you mean nothing.
You don't get to see them in the ER.
Exactly. So like so that's kind of prevent you, and then they focus you to like to be it. But I do like I think in New York, at one of the states, like if you've been living together with somebody, you considered a civil union. And that should be a thing, because like marriage has changed. Like marriage has changed so much.
It used to be a trap. It still kind of is.
It is, because like even if you're married, right? First of all, the wedding industry makes so much money, but if you're divorced, that's even more expensive. So why and that forces people to stay in something that they shouldn't be staying in, whereas you could have just had a civil union still with no expectation and continue doing what you're doing. And I think that's where I am, like with me, like with the marriage. Like I don't like the idea of marriage just because it forces somebody to say you are stuck with this person. I think it kind of also builds into my head since I was a kid from my parents. My parents were arranged marriage. They didn't see each other until the altar. Literally, it's like a married at first sight kind of thing. So like the families agreed to it and they got married. And like in India, like I'm pretty sure it's changed now, but like an older generation, they say like, oh, our generation doesn't get divorced because they have no other choice. If they didn't get divorced, because if they would get divorced, then they will go back to a family, and that's a shame on the family. Like she left her house. So that was kind of stuck in my head. Like for me, the marriage meant you were stuck with someone, even if you were happy. Like my parents had interesting relationship. We could divulge into it like a whole thing on its own, but. And then for me, it's like I can still enjoy everything without feeling this entrapment under another person.
Ooh, I'm so happy you said that, because I think there's a phenomenon happening right now that I'm really enjoying seeing. And I feel like the pendulum's swinging to how men always viewed marriage as the ball and chain. Women are actually viewing it as that. Yeah. And men are freaking out. Yeah. But I'm saying that very much in general because, of course, there are people...
every spectrum, right? Like
it's a generalization.
Yeah.
People are not monoliths. However, I'm seeing a theme that is being perpetuated of that at swing, and I'm interested on for both of you and how the stages that you're in your life. Do you feel like your views on marriage are changing in a similar fashion, or is it more of a realization of what actually it takes to maintain a marriage? Is not just living with someone, you have to do emotionally care for them, and then also marry all of their childhood trauma?
I think, I'm going to speak as a married person.
The married person.
Yeah. I don't think that marriage has improved our emotional or just like our private life in any way. It has helped us legally and it has helped us financially because, we get like tax benefits and things like that. But those are like the societal things, and I don't think that marriage really like put a ball and chain on me. I hope Chris doesn't feel that way.
I love your guys' relationship. You guys are very you're two people that are married and not a married couple.
Yes. I'm very proud of that thing.
Yeah.
But I just marriage to me is it, and it's in Europe. Marriage is actually like becoming less and less common. People don't feel the necessity for it because you as an individual get these different benefits and rights.
Yeah. In
America, you need to be attached to another person to be considered a unit, a legal unit. I never literally I realized this 2 weeks ago when I was reading the book, and I'm like still mind fucked over it.
Yeah, and that's true. And I can say that's true in a lot of other countries, like in India for sure. Like I think, how in America it was like you have to have a male to like sign illegal documents, whatever.
Literally.
That like went away, and I think that took a while to go away in India. And I think in villages that still is true. It just depends on where it is. But the thing is, it hasn't left my head. Like that's something I grew up with. That thing is still stuck in my head. So for me, I'm at a age like if I do marry somebody, it's gonna be like a mutual understanding because of the tax break, and kind of just like let's just sign a document. Like I don't want to have a big ass wedding party. Like I will have a party for us to celebrate. Like I don't want to have like a 7-day things to celebrate show to people, spend the money and just be like, hey, we signed this document because like if I'm dying, I want the money go to you kind of thing.
Ooh,
like
actually,
that's it.
I'm happy you said that. Do you guys view now marriages as more business deals rather than like your best?
They are. They've always been.
They always.
I just think that we are finally peeling off the romantic layer, which is just it's bullshit. Like you're already in love. Hopefully, if you're getting married, you already have like all this respect for each other, so you won't be shitty. Like this is like an insurance document, you know what I mean? Like I don't really find document. Marriage or wedding romantic per se. Like it's a really cool event to hold and celebrate, like with your friends and family, But I like you're like
I'm
the
always
seven-
thinking of the money being spent.
7-day
Like-
thing doesn't really find. I don't
No.
really find any like appeal.
Yeah, it's
No.
funny. Like every time I go to a huge ass Indian weddings, all I'm thinking is like, how much money did you spend, and how much of this was a loan that you took,
Right.
Yes.
like, and how much like you could have done so much with it. Because I can still hear people in my like in the year complaining about how it looks. It's like, dude, you're getting free food.
Yeah,
Like,
why
calm
are
down.
we mad? And the food's never bad.
Yeah, food is never bad. Eat something else.
But I also, I'm on both fences. I want the balls to the walls, like grandiosity without
Nice.
the loan for it. But I
Yeah.
want it like, but intimate. Like I want like 10 people.
Yeah,
and let's go
exactly.
to a villa and party this out. But I also want to make sure it's economical.
Yeah.
and that everything. And then when we sign this deal, it's very much business forward. But I feel like for me, the education of seeing how the system work made me take apart my timeline and be like, how do I want to set this up? Because if they, from what they're pushing onto you, is actually not the best way financially to figure it out. When you get married, that's where you make your most net worth.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm very keen on, I don't want to be drained in a relationship. I want to be married to a whole adult. I don't, what I see a lot of people, especially when they get married young, get married to these immature partners.
Yeah.
So you
the
have this
idea of it. Yeah.
Yes, and so you have one partner who's overcompensating and being responsible, but then they can't focus on themselves as much. And then you have this other partner who gets to enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And for me, and realizing, okay, no, if it's a business, if it's a financial decision, I'd be very keen on who I'm going to be married to, and that's going to take some time. But I also have to be, for me, I'm like, I need to be comfortable in myself.
Yeah.
Because having money and entering a marriage, I feel like that's also pushed my timeline back more, because I need to make sure that I am financially secure and I can leave
Yeah.
if I need
Exactly.
to, or can stay and do whatever I want.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for me, like a huge deal for me. Like if I'm getting married, like I don't want to ever feel like it's a trap, and just be like, I can leave, and both of us are okay to leave if we don't feel okay with it. Like I don't want to ever feel trapped, and also at the same time, like I don't want to marry a kid. Like, and I think it's just one of those things. Like I'm adult, the person is adult. I'm not saying marriage is bad. Like I do think like getting into a good marriage, it helps both parties. Like some things that you both are doing separately, when you come together, you are sharing tasks, right? It makes a power couple. It helps so much, but it needs to be understanding that it's half kind of thing. Like so like you can grow into so much more when you go into partnership with somebody. It doesn't have to be marriage. Like just going into partnership with somebody, just sharing responsibilities, and what's a better way?
And also allowing the other person to grow. And one thing I admire,
Oh gosh.
Nico, well, first of all, Nico has something to say. I will say, admiring your and Chris's marriage, I love that you guys allow each other creatively just to do what you want. And I feel like finding people who can support you and also be willing to grow with you. I feel like if people, a lot of times they marry the person that they have at this altar, not realizing you both are going to change.
Yeah.
And you're walking to your deaths, essentially, if you really want to do it that way. And be like, okay, with this person the rest of my life, we're going to be growing together. And I'm going to love you regardless. And I feel like I love getting to see that through the lens of your friend.
Yeah.
But how do you feel for it? Do you feel like since you got married younger, do you feel like now, though, your timeline's still yours, or do you feel like you're somewhat following it inadvertently?
According to my parents, well, we're not. Okay, my parents were born. God damn it! My parents were married when they were like 20.
Yeah.
So I was already old when I got married at the age of 26. So that's already like kind of off the table expectations that I failed. But I'm sorry, what was your question?
Are you following your own timeline? Or are you following the
I am.
together kind of thing?
I am.
Okay.
And honestly, I mean, literally, like, me and Chris got married because we didn't want to be separated, and my like legal status here was expiring, so we just got married for practical reasons.
Makes sense.
And
Business deal.
thankfully,
Yeah.
thankfully things worked out, and I mean, I'm not saying we didn't love each other before then.
Yeah.
And, like, we got married because we loved each other, but
Things
we
happen,
wanted
yeah.
to also see how much further we can take this relationship, and the only way to do that was getting married because of my legal status.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But hopefully it worked out and I'm not a 33-year-old divorcee.
Yeah.
That would be sad.
Would it be? I love divorcees. I feel like with this generation, I feel like we're rebranding
see, that's
it.
one thing, I guess.
I
I'm
love
like, I have like this mindset where I just like, I don't know why it terrifies me to be divorced.
Oh my god, they're my favorite friends. They tell you like it is.
No. But I guess maybe it's because like I'm really happy in my marriage.
Yeah.
Oh,
gotcha.
yeah.
I just don't. I don't want it to fall apart.
No, it
Oh,
makes
no,
sense.
no.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to judge people who are divorced.
Yeah.
More power to you if that's the right move for you. But I personally am terrified of getting a divorce. It's like one
Makes
of my
sense.
number one fears.
That makes sense.
You know what's also funny? I always assumed I'd at least have one. Like I feel like
Yeah.
with life, I'm going to view it
want
as
it.
it's a game. So I'm like, if I stumble off of this, I'm like, well, there's one. Meghan Markle got two, and look at her. Like she'll be fine. We'll be fine. But
Yeah.
I don't want you to divorce either.
No. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm glad. It's interesting how the conversation went to where it was, but
marriage,
yeah, I was
what's the
married.
timeline?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
what you want to make it to be. Honestly, like I think like a lot of times even relationships, like make the relationship what you two want to be, not what society wants it to be. Because if you want to just be partners, you want to have an open relationship, or you want to like live together and do like whatever works for you.
You want to live in a commune.
You want to live in a
Let's
commune.
start a cult, please.
Yeah, with like 5 other people and raise kids together. Whatever makes you happy,
Well,
do that.
In the next podcast, we'll talk about Normies cult. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
We are
Let's
culture.
buy a ranch in Wyoming and become yak farmers.
Yeah.
Next week you are actually going to have a guest. And as somebody you guys don't know, she is a TikToker,
Yes.
local to Indy, and
TikTok.
we literally just recently found out about her, and we're
Yeah.
excited to find out that she lives in the area. So we've invited her. She'll be with us next week. We're gonna
Her
talk
name-
about her journey and how she became like an influencer/comedian, and how that life is working out for her.
Yeah.
And her timeline.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just gonna keep on going in
Yeah.
this direction.
We love it. Like her name is Sarah Huntington, and she's hilarious. I hope you guys find her funny as well. But
Do you guys had any last words?
no.
We're about to raid.
These motherfuckers ain't stopping me.
Yes.
Be happy. Have your own timeline. Let the people
Yes.
be whatever.
Yes.
Like it's just end of the day, you're living your life, not other people.
And it's okay. You have so much more time than you think. Get
Yes.
pressed on it. Get focused. But you don't have to rush.
Wherever
Yeah.
you are in this moment is where you are meant to be.
Yeah. Live in the present. Yeah. Fuck the society.
And
Literally.
with that, we are raiding Venus World.
Yay. Awesome.
You guys have a wonderful Wednesday.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for staying with us.
Bye.
Get ready, cause it's about time
I wish it was Saturday.
for you to speak your mind. Secret Girls Club. Secret Girls Club. Super Secret Girls Club.